Welcome to Popternative, where we dive into topical discussions from the worlds of pop culture, social media, and sports. Here is your host, Peter Remoliotis, aka PD Beats.
Hello and welcome to the Popternative podcast, the podcast and talk show where we have digital discussions on the worlds of TV, film, pop culture, social media, sports, everything really depending on the guest. We talk about it all. As always, I'm your host, Peter Remoliotis. On social media, you'll know me as PD Beats. You'll recognize my guest from a show called Get Even on Netflix. We're with Bethany Antonia. Bethany, welcome to Popternative.
Hello, thank you so much for having me.
No problem. I mean, it's pretty exciting because I find we're in a kind of a new age. There's always adaptations of books that become kind of TV shows or movies, but I feel like there's been a lot of that right now. So what was that like, kind of being part of a show that was based on a novel?
It was so cool. So when I got the audition through for the project, I hadn't read the books and I didn't know that it was a book before. And then I had my first recall, read both of the books because there's a Get Even book and a Get Dirty book. Mm-hmm. And I read them both and I was just obsessed with the novel. And it made it so much more exciting because it was like you kind of knew where you were going. You don't normally know what's going to happen to your character. So Absolutely. I read both of the books. Yeah, I read both of the books. And then when we started filming, we actually read them as a cast. Like we all read them together. We would swapping the books around and we were having like a little race of who could finish them first and stuff. It just made it really nice. It was like a cool thing to have.
I find it's kind of an interesting thing for kind of an actor or a storyteller. I like calling actors storytellers as well. It's an interesting thing because, this is kind of like a media that's already been created and you have to kind of create characters based on what's already written down on paper. Is that a challenge in your opinion as well?
It is. I think like there's a little bit of pressure because you want the author to see their creation and be blown away and be happy. The one thing you don't want is for them to see it and be like, that's not who I wrote. So I think we all really wanted to pay tribute to the incredible characters that Gretchen McNeil wrote. And what was challenging on this was that we had a different writer for the series, whereas sometimes the author's involved or sometimes they work together, but this we had a completely separate writer. Mm-hmm. And we didn't know if her ideas were necessarily what Gretchen had wrote in the book. So we as actors just had to try and create a nice little blend of the two. So I found that quite difficult, but it's been really nice having it come out and seeing Gretchen's response to it because she's so happy with it. And that's just like a big sigh of relief for all of us.
Yeah, really. I know that must have been really exciting too to see that, she sees kind of the adaptation of the TV show and, you're waiting to hear back. So that's really good to see that. Yeah, I saw her social media posts and everything. She's all excited about it. Stepping away a little bit from Get Even, going towards the kind of the early days, when did Bethany Antonia decide that like storytelling and acting was something she wanted to do?
Well, I was 14 when I decided that I wanted to be an actor. And I'll never forget this. I was watching TV just at home and I realized that there was children in the thing that I was watching. And I was like, oh, they're my age and I want to be doing that. And at the time, I don't think I realized that it was a job. I just was like, I want to be doing that because I used to watch TV programs and films and like reenact them just for fun. And I just thought that's what you were supposed to do. And then I saw these kids in this TV show and I was like, I have to do that. So I came downstairs and I was like, Mom, I want to be an actor. And she was like, okay, how do we do that then? And we just did loads of research, started Googling. That's the thing nowadays. Information is so accessible that you can just decide to be something and the next day have made your way in. I decided that I was going to be an actor and we found a group in my area. It was called the First Act Television Workshop and it was like a training and casting ground for young actors. So I went there and they would train us up and then we would get to audition for things. And I'd been there about 6 months and I had my first audition for a short film and I got the role and that was it really. That was where it all started.
That's amazing. And it's one of those things what I'm noticing in the industry is a lot of people kind of wear many hats. Like a lot of people who act also, dabble in writing sometimes, dabble in producing, dabble in directing. Have you kind of thought about down the road maybe kind of wearing more hats and doing that type of stuff as well, not just acting?
Yeah, I think the older I get, the more and more appealing it is to be in those different positions. I think I would love to direct at some point. I'd love to write. I mean, I've tried a few times to write different things, but I end up just like wanting to act in them. So I think there's a fine line between actors who write because they have important stories to tell and actors who write because they just want to be in things. And I'd like to find the right balance before trying to write something or direct something. But definitely, absolutely. I think there's no, again, with the thing about things being accessible, there's no limit on the things that you can do. And it's so exciting that you can just like do 15 different things and be exposed to that many different avenues.
Yeah. I like that, avenue. There's different words for it. Some people say vehicles, some people say streams. I like that, avenues. That's awesome. That's really awesome. Get Even kind of drops on Netflix. Talk a little bit about, from your perspective, the reception on social media once it kind of dropped. What's that been like for you?
Crazy. As a Brit, like the exposure that Netflix shows kind of get, we're not used to that over here. You know, we have a very small, I say small industry. I mean, it's huge, but it's very small. The UK as a whole is tiny. And so you do a show over here, people watch it, it does well, you do the next thing. And that's how it is. And this big response to like streaming services is relatively new. So for me, I was not used to or expecting the response that we got when it dropped on Netflix. And just seeing it go to all these different countries and having messages of people in Brazil and Germany. And that's the thing that's been really unusual and exciting. I think that the most exciting thing has been that.
Well, I think it goes back to what you said about the access, right? Like people kind of have access to watch it all over the world, and it's it's a British show, but has this kind of world audience, and there's kind of people from all over the place. I mean, when did you kind of because it's funny too, when the show, before the show kind of releases, there's kind of, I like to call it the calm before the storm, you know what I mean? What was that like, a couple of days or even a week? What was that kind of like for you and the cast, like a couple of days or a week before it kind of released? Like what was that like for you guys?
Well, we were really lucky because UK release in the February. Yep. We kind of got to see that people liked it, and you know, it was a very specific audience who was watching it, and we could see that. So I think we all just had in our heads that would be the same when it dropped on Netflix. So the week or few days before, we were just calm, we were just really excited for people to see it, and more so excited for it to finally be out there after so many months of waiting, because we filmed the show last summer, so it's been a whole year. So we were just excited for it to be out there. But then it released, and it was kind of like, whoa, we didn't expect this at all. We didn't expect it to have this much excitement around it on social media.
Have you kind of also noticed that genre of, you know, the mystery, the murder, the thriller, that's kind of, that genre is very trendy right now. Like people love that kind of genre of things.
Yeah, that's with true crime, myself included, I can't lie. I think people, it seems to come in waves, right? So people jump onto things all in one go. So right now, like the teen thriller is like topic of the month. Everyone's super excited, which is great for our show, because I feel like I don't know if it would have had the same response.
Mm-hmm. No, for sure. But yeah, that's another thing. It's kind of interesting because Netflix has kind of posted a lot of these shows that are directed towards, you know, teens, that kind of demographic, the same demographic as Get Even, like Outer Banks and 13 Reasons Why, recently Teenage Bounty Hunters. So it's pretty cool because all those shows, I feel like, kind of work together, because like a lot of the people are going to binge and watch them all. Have you ever thought about that?
Yeah, I thought that, and actually, you know, the success of one show can really impact the success of another. It's that thing of like when you finished it and you just you don't want it to end, but there's only 10 episodes, so you're going to dive into the next thing that's recommended. It's really cool, and it's nice because it's nice to have this kind of group of actors who are all working in the same sort of things, and you can, you know, everyone's like binging your shows at the same time. It just builds up your network of people, really. Oh,
absolutely. So for people that don't know much about Get Even and don't know much about the books, can you just, without kind of giving away a lot, can you talk a little bit about, you know, the show and specifically your character in the show, Bethany?
Yeah, so Get Even is a 10-part drama series, and it's based on 2 novels by Gretchen McNeil. And it follows 4 teenage girls from completely different walks of life who set up a secret society called DGM, which stands for Don't Get Mad, because they don't get mad, they get even. And they basically want to bring down all the injustice that they are seeing in their school. And so they go about to just tackle the enemy, basically. And things are going really well for them until they find themselves in the middle of a murder investigation and they have to get out quickly. And I play Margot Rivers, one of the 4 girls, and she is an American who's just moved to the UK. She's just started at Bannerman, the school, and she's having a really hard time making friends and fitting in, and she's got a very specific type of interests that don't really resonate with people that she's at school with. And she joins DGM because it's a chance for her to do something that she's really passionate about and also make some great friends.
Absolutely. And in terms of, I always kind of ask about kind of learning experiences for you working on a show like this and kind of developing a character like your character. What were kind of some of the learning experiences for Bethany Antonia? Like, what did you kind of learn? Were there some things? Because anytime you go on a new project, even though you're working, whether you're working 10 years, whether you're working 1 year, you're always going to learn something new. What were kind of learning experiences for yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. The first thing I learned, and probably the biggest, was that you burn out very quickly. So this was my first time doing a series regular role. So this was the first time that I had that much responsibility. Oh, 1 second. Sorry. No. Sorry, you're about to die. That was the first time that I'd had a series regular role and that much responsibility. And you want to dive in. You're so excited to do that. You go in with all this energy, 500% on day 1. And then by day 5, you're asleep because you've run out of steam. So the first thing I learned was about pacing myself and, taking it easy and like dividing my energy throughout the week. And that kind of goes on to the same thing, but emotionally. My character has quite a few sad scenes. She's a pretty sad egg, Margot is. And I learned that you can't give it 100% on the first 5 takes because by the time you get to the close-up, you're going to be out of energy and you're not going to look remotely sad. And you've used all your good takes for the wide shot that like no one's going to see. So technically I learned about just like pacing myself for scenes and just more about like different shots and different angles and different terminology and all the stuff that I think is important to learn as you move up.
Now, after you shot it, did you and the cast and crew get together and watch it? Did you like have you seen it?
Yeah, I've seen it.
Some people don't see it. Like,
right,
so I can't assume anymore if people have seen their work. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, we had like a cast and crew screening back in January, and then we had like a premiere. So I saw the first 2 episodes twice.
Gotcha.
It was like a direct watch it, and then I watched it with my family when it came out. When it came out in February, we all sat down and watched the whole thing.
Absolutely. Was it what was that kind of like though? Because like you might not know what certain shots are gonna kind of look like when you're actually like working and filming it, right?
Yeah, it was really strange. There was just me staring at the screen being like, no, I should have done this or I should have done that. Or I think like I'm one of the actors that I don't like watching myself on screen. I don't think we should do it. I think we should just film it and go and like never see it again. But like watching it was cool. After the first few episodes of just getting over myself and being like, you did that and it's fine. I then enjoyed it as a story and I really, really liked it.
No, absolutely. Well, Bethany, thank you so much for coming on Popternative. I really enjoyed chatting with you.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. It's been lovely to meet you properly.
Absolutely. So people can watch Get Even now on Netflix.
Mm-hmm.
And where can they follow you on social media to keep up to date with everything?
Yeah, so I have Instagram and Twitter. It's just Bethany Antonia and Bethany Antonia _ on Twitter. And I just post regularly on there. It's mainly just Get Even craziness right now on my social media. But yeah.
Amazing. Seriously. Well, seriously, congrats to you and the cast and crew, the success of Get Even so far. And I hope it kind of continues to get bigger. That's awesome.
Thank you so much. And have a lovely day.
Yeah, you too. Well, this has been Popternative. YouTube.com/Popternative for previous episodes. And until next time, this is Bethany Antonia from Get Even, which you can watch on Netflix now. And Petey Beats signing off.
Thank you for tuning in to Popternative. Make sure to check out our past episodes of Popternative on YouTube. Be sure to like Popternative on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
This has been an Autograph Communications production.